At March 9, 1974, Lubang Island, Philippines. The jungle is alive. Cicadas scream in the heat. Leaves tremble in the humid air. A narrow footpath cuts through dense green silent. A Filipino patrol advances cautiously. Rifles raised. Eyes scanning the undergrowth. Then a sudden movement. A figure bursts from the foliage. Thin, bearded, weathered beyond age. A rifle clutched to his chest. The bolt slides back. Around chambers. The soldier takes aim. Not a rebel, not a criminal. A Japanese Imperial Army officer, still fighting a war that ended 29 years ago. His name is Second Lieutenant Hiroo Onoda. And in his mind, World War II is not over. If you believe history is more than dates and battles. If you believe the human mind can outlast empires. If you want to understand how loyalty became obsession and duty turned into isolation, stay with us and watch to the end. Because what you are about to witness is not just the longest war fought by one man. It is a warning, a tragedy, and a question history still cannot answer. To understand Hiroo Onoda, we must return to Imperial Japan. ATB 1930s. A nation rising through discipline, sacrifice, and absolute loyalty to the emperor considered divine. From childhood, Japanese boys were taught one truth. Surrender is dishonor. Capture is shame. Death is preferable to defeat. Military doctrine reinforced it. Bushido, the warrior code, was not philosophy. It was law. By the time Onoda entered military academy, Japan was already at war with China. Soon it would be at war with the world. Hiroo Onoda was born in 1922. In Kainan, Wakayama Prefecture, Hiroo Onoda was not reckless, not fanatical. He was methodical, quiet and intelligent. In 1944, as Japan's situation deteriorated, Onoda was selected for a special assignment. He was trained not as a frontline soldier, but as an intelligence officer. His orders were different and more dangerous. By December 1944, Onoda is summoned by his commanding officer, Major Yoshimi Taniguchi. Japan is losing the war. American forces are advancing island by island. Lubang Island, strategically insignificant, but tactically useful, must be denied to the enemy. Taniguchi gives Onoda his final command. You are absolutely forbidden to die by your own hand. Under no circumstances are you to surrender. Whatever happens, we will come back for you. Then the most dangerous sentence of all. This may take 3 years, or 5, but we will return. Onoda salutes, and believes every word. Lubang Island was small, but it sat along supply routes. If even one Japanese soldier remained active, American control would never be complete. For Onoda, the mission was simple. Conduct guerrilla warfare. Gather intelligence. Sabotage enemy activity. Survive at all costs. Time did not matter. Victory would come eventually. In February 1945, American forces landed. Within weeks, Japanese command collapsed. Communication failed. Airfields fell silent. But in the jungle, Hiroo Onoda did not retreat. He disappeared, carrying his rifle, his ammunition and his orders, and a belief that would outlive an empire. By August 15, 1945, across Japan, radios crackle to life. For the first time in history, the voice of the emperor is broadcast to the nation. Hirohito speaks in formal, ancient language. He does not say the word surrender, but the meaning is unmistakable. Japan has accepted the terms of the Allied Declaration. The war is over. Cities lie in ruins. 2 atomic bombs have erased Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Millions are dead. Imperial Japan ceases to exist. Deep in the jungle, Hiroo Onoda hears nothing. No radio, no broadcast, no confirmation. Only distant gunfire. Occasional aircraft overhead and silence. Onoda is not alone at first. 3 other Japanese soldiers remain with him. Corporal Shoichi Shimada, Private Yuichi Akatsu, Private Kinshichi Kozuka. Together, they believe the same thing. The enemy is lying. Japan has not surrendered. The war continues. Soon, paper begins falling from the sky. American planes scatter leaflets across Lubang. They show photographs. They carry messages in Japanese. The war ended on August 15th. Come down from the mountains. You will not be harmed. Onoda studies them carefully. Too carefully. The paper is clean. The ink is sharp. The language feels wrong. To a trained intelligence officer, it is obvious. Psychological warfare. Onoda orders the leaflets burned. From Onoda's perspective, everything makes sense. If Japan had surrendered, why would Americans still patrol? Why would shots still be fired? Why would planes still fly overhead? Food is stolen from villagers. Cattle are slaughtered at night. Farms are burned as enemy resources. Every action reinforces his belief. The enemy would not abandon the island if the war were truly over. In 1949, Private Yuichi Akatsu disappears. Days pass, weeks, months. Onoda assumes the worst. But in truth, Akatsu has surrendered. He walks out of the jungle, malnourished, terrified but alive. Back in Japan, newspapers explode with the story. A soldier lost for 4 years had returned. Search missions are launched. Loudspeakers are brought to Lubang. Voices call out in Japanese. Family members plead. The war is over. Please come home. Onoda listens and rejects it all because belief would destroy everything. If the war was over, then every raid was murder. Every shot was pointless. Every stolen grain of rice was theft. Admitting peace meant admitting meaninglessness. And Onoda could not accept that. By the early 1950s, only 3 remain. They conduct raids less often. They conserve ammunition. They hide deeper. Then tragedy strikes. May 7, 1954. Corporal Shimada is shot and killed during a clash with a Philippine patrol. Onoda buries him in the jungle. No ceremony, no marker, only silence. Now only 2 remain. Hiroo Onoda and Kinshichi Kozuka. 10 years have passed. Then 15. Then 20. The world enters the Cold War. Men walk on the moon. Japan becomes an economic power. And in the jungle of Lubang Island, 2 soldiers still wait for orders that will never come. The jungle does not mark time. Seasons blur together. Rain replaces sun. Green consumes everything. By the 1960s, Hiroo Onoda and Kinshichi Kozuka are ghosts. They move only at night. They speak in whispers. They live on coconuts, stolen rice, and rainwater. Their uniforms rot away, replaced by patched cloth and bark fibers. But one thing remains pristine. Onoda's rifle. Cleaned daily. Oiled carefully. Carried like a sacred object. Occasionally, newspapers drift into the jungle. Old, weathered, discarded. Onoda reads about events he believes are deceptions. The Korean War. The Vietnam War. A Japan hosting the Olympic Games. To him, these are fabrications. If Japan had truly surrendered, there would be no need for these lies. The logic becomes airtight, self-contained, impossible to penetrate. By now, the Philippine government knows their names, knows their habits, knows their patrol routes, yet capturing them proves nearly impossible. They strike and vanish, burning rice fields, sabotaging equipment, firing warning shots. Over the years, at least 30 locals are wounded. Several are killed. For villagers, the war never ended either. Onoda writes in his journal. He keeps records, counts ammunition, tracks enemy movement. Everything is done by regulation. He forbids suicide, forbids surrender. He reminds Kozuka, our duty is to stay alive until orders arrive. And Kozuka obeys. October 19, 1972. The 2 men spot farmers harvesting rice. To Onoda, it is an enemy supply operation. They move into position. Kozuka steps forward to set fire to the crop. Gunfire erupts. Bullets tear through the field. Kozuka falls. He dies instantly. Onoda does not fire back. He retreats and disappears. For the first time in 27 years. Hiroo Onoda is alone. News of Kozuka's death spreads quickly. The world reacts in disbelief. A Japanese soldier still fighting in 1972? Search parties return. Loudspeakers echo again. But now there is no reply. Only jungle. Only silence. Onoda does not mourn. He documents. Kozuka, killed in action. Nothing more. He believes the war has entered its most dangerous phase. Because now he must survive alone. And somewhere beyond the jungle, someone is finally coming for him. A young Japanese traveler arrives in the Philippines. He carries no weapon, no uniform, no authority. His name is Norio Suzuki. He is not a soldier. He is an adventurer. Suzuki tells reporters he has 3 goals in life: to find Lieutenant Onoda, to find a panda, and to find the abominable snowman. He begins with Lubang Island. 4 days into the jungle, Suzuki sees him, a man in tattered clothes, a rifle hanging from his shoulder, eyes sharp, unblinking. Onoda steps from the trees. The safety clicks off. Suzuki bows, calmly and respectfully. Onoda-san. The war ended 30 years ago. Onoda does not raise his weapon, but he does not lower it either. Suzuki speaks for hours. He tells him about Japan, about peace, about families. Onoda listens. He asks questions, detailed ones, about the emperor, about military reforms, about old commanders. Suzuki answers, but still it is not enough. Onoda finally speaks. I will not surrender, unless ordered by my commanding officer. Not a condition, a rule, unbreakable. Onoda is not insane. He is consistent. His identity is built on obedience. To surrender without orders would invalidate his entire existence. Suzuki understands. He bows again, and promises, I will come back with your commander. Onoda lets him leave. The rifle remains loaded. Suzuki returns to Japan. Authorities are stunned. After decades, the impossible is real. Major Yoshimi Taniguchi is located. Retired. Bookstore owner. But alive. Reluctantly, he agrees to go. March 9, 1974. Exactly 29 years after Onoda vanished. Taniguchi stands in the jungle. Wearing his old uniform, he reads the order aloud. The Imperial Japanese Army has ceased all combat activity. You are relieved of all duties. You may surrender. Onoda listens. Silently, and then, he removes his rifle. Places it on the ground. Ammunition, grenades, dagger, all still functional. Hiroo Onoda salutes. And for the first time in nearly 3 decades, the war ends. Not with gunfire, but with words. Yet surrender is not the end. Because now Onoda must face something far more terrifying than combat. Peace. March 1974. Hiroo Onoda boards a plane for Japan. It is his first time seeing the world beyond jungle canopy in 29 years. The engine roars. The ground disappears. Below him, the battlefield of his life fades into green. Onoda does not look back. Japan welcomes him as a symbol. Crowds gather. Cameras flash. Newspapers call him the last imperial soldier. But this is not the Japan he left. There are no ruins. No ration lines. No uniforms. Neon lights glow. Skyscrapers rise. Children speak casually, freely. Japan is no longer an empire. It is a nation rebuilt on peace. The Philippine government grants Onoda a full pardon. Despite the deaths. Despite the years of violence. President Ferdinand Marcos declares, he believed he was at war. Forgiveness comes easier than understanding. Onoda struggles. He bows too often, speaks too formally, sleeps lightly. The jungle never leaves him. Interviewers press him. Do you regret it? Would you do it again? Onoda pauses, then answers carefully. I obeyed my orders. Not pride, not apology, just fact. Onoda eventually leaves Japan. He cannot adapt. The noise is too loud. The world too fast. He moves to Brazil, becomes a farmer. Later, he returns to Japan to teach survival skills to children. Not war. Survival. How to endure hardship. How to live with purpose. Hiroo Onoda dies in 2014 at the age of 91. He lived in 3 centuries, fought in 1 war, but carried it longer than anyone else. He was not the last soldier of World War II, but he was the last man to stop fighting it. History often asks, how long can a man fight? Hiroo Onoda gave an answer the world never expected. 29 years. Not because he hated peace, but because he believed in duty more than time itself. Empires fall. Wars end. Orders fade. But belief can outlive them all.